I just saw the American Society of Magical Negroes that came out, I think, last weekend. I freaking loved it. I'm gonna start doing this for all my things. If I had to give it comps, I would say it's like a mashup of Harry Potter meets The Kingsmen, but with black people. That's like the mashup that I would give it. And it felt like it was based on like a YA novel, but I don't think it was. I'm assuming the filmmaker, I have not looked this up, the filmmaker and writer is black. I don't think there's any way that a white person could have written something that seems so authentically from the black perspective. And I'm gonna share like the gist and non-spoiler stuff at the beginning. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was uplifting and charming, and I love when things are magical. I love Harry Potter stuff. I love like that kind of thing. I loved the way, okay, I'll talk about the way it ended later, but David Alan Grier, I mean, he's just freaking phenomenal in everything. And I've seen the lead actor in so many things. I do not remember his name. Not very good with names, but I'm really good with faces. So great. And I loved his counterpart, his the main woman, his love interest, I guess you could say. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really hilarious satire of what the black community has been experiencing all of their lives. I thought the jokes about white tears and white people being uncomfortable was so fucking funny. I loved how they took this trope and this cliche of the magical Negro black character that they use and they've had in so many stories throughout generations, just as to be the supporting character to the white protagonist, you know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up, or just look at Legend of Bagger Vance, that Stephen King, Shawshank Redemption, a couple of Stephen King's, well, not movies, but, you know, books that were made into movies, The Green Mile, anyway, that's just to name a few, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I really did, okay, this is the spoiler part. I really did have a fear, but I was like, that would be really bad storytelling, that it was gonna just end with him being like, oh, let me just like make this person like comfortable and like sacrifice what I want. But the breakthrough for him was standing up. And it's not even like standing up to his white friend. It's just literally just communicating his authentic feelings to his white friend and how that is, and how that was for him and is for him, that experience. And like, because what was right there for me was that I actually completely understood in the world of the story why that society existed, and like why they really believed that like they were doing the good and they were doing the best that they can and all that stuff. But it's like the message of the movie being, but so are we not gonna ever make anyone uncomfortable? Because discomfort and letting people be uncomfortable, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're whatever, just people in general, growth comes out of discomfort. Change, real change comes out of discomfort, I think. And oh my gosh, the white tears thing was freaking hilarious. So funny. And I loved the ending. Just as I was having an idea, like, oh, it would be such, I'm like, you know, it would be such a funny sequel to this movie if they did this for women and what women experience, stroking men's egos so that they can like exist in the world. They have a little nod almost to the Kingsmen of the Society of Supportive Wives and Girlfriends. I really hope they make that movie. I would be there front row, not front row. It's not it's not a comedy thing. It's not a comedy show and it's not a theater show. I hate being in the front row of the movie. I'd be dead row center, perfectly dead row center, and go opening weekend. Please, please give me a sequel to this. Please, please. Doing a brief follow-up on my review, because I was really surprised when I started to look at, you know, Rotten Tomatoes and different critics and different reviews, kind of the poor reception that it received. Especially because sometimes when I look at Rotten Tomatoes, like, I take some of the things with a grain of salt, even the ones that say it's the critics, because if I look on there and they don't actually give really specific constructive feedback of why they didn't like it and what was lacking that made it not work for them. If people don't do that, then I can usually tell, or my sense is that they were in some sort of reaction from the film. And sometimes people have a reaction of why they like something or they don't like something, but then they don't question or look at why. Like, oh, is it my own this, or is it my own that, or is it my own bias, or is it my own, you know? But I did look up some of the critics that I do respect that actually did give very specifics. And one of the biggest criticisms of the film was that they felt like that speaking about such important issues, that it really didn't land. Like, it didn't drive it home, I guess you could say, or it could have been more poignant instead of kind of less fluffy. And I completely get where they're coming from. I guess what's there for me is when I saw the trailer was exactly how I thought the film was going to be. Like, the tone was spot on. So kind of like, it just reminds me a little bit about like people when they saw Barbie and they were really upset that it was surface level dealing with feminism. I think with blockbuster films or films of a certain tone, there is only a certain amount that they can do. And I think that might have been intentional on the part of the filmmaker. But, you know, I don't care what the critics say. I enjoyed it. What did you think about it? Who has seen it? I like things that are different. I like things that